Welcome to Evolution Revolution. My name is Susan Allan, and I am really thrilled to have you with us today. And if you've watched the show before, you know that the purpose of the show is to introduce you to breakthroughs in the human potential movement that work, so that you can have a life that's more peaceful, more joyous, more healthy, more wealthy, more successful, whatever you call that. Everybody's got a slightly different version. And in the different shows that we've done, if you've watched us before, you know that we always have someone who has something that's an interesting breakthrough, something that's unique, and also entertaining and fun, because after all, this is television. So today I am really, really thrilled to introduce you to Dr. Kathy Gruver. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, you are the ultimate excited guest.
I'm trying.
Totally enthusiastic, which is the proof of how healthy and successful, that you are and people can be. So let me tell you a little bit about Kathy. Okay. She is an award-winning author of 3 books on health, and 2 of them are here. She's a sought-after speaker and expert in the field of natural health, mind-body medicine, and nutrition. She's earned her PhD in natural health. She's appeared on over 200 radio and TV shows. She hosts her own series based on her first book, The Alternative Medicine Cabinet, and that's what we're really going to focus on today. So I'm excited because you know things I don't know.
That's good. I want to tell everybody about them.
So fantastic. Okay. So Kathy is an expert in teaching people how to enhance their mind-body connection. And language. You guys have been watching me on television in Santa Barbara for 9 years, so you know that I teach people how to change the words, the language they use in their brain, so that they get the love and the peace and the joy and the relationship, etc. So today, Kathy's going to speak about the connection between language and health. What we think, what we speak, how we listen, that's part of the description you hear about me all the time, affects the result in health and in the body. So tell us more about this.
Well, one of the things that stands out to me when I'm talking to my clients is, we're so body focused in this community. In this society, we talk about having a low BMI and eating organic and exercising and drinking enough water, and all of that stuff is so vastly important. But we don't talk enough about our minds, our mind health, our emotional health, our spiritual health. We talk about stress amongst our girlfriends, but we don't talk about stress with our Western medicine practitioners. They give you this 5-page form about, what do you eat and how much do you smoke and is your husband beating you, but they don't ask if you're stressed. And that to me is that missing part of our health. We need to start focusing on that mind-body connection, how we speak to and about ourselves. How we speak in our own minds, the phrases that we have running over and over again. And if we are having 60,000 thoughts a day, and 50,000 of those are negative, that's going to be a huge health impact. We can make ourselves have a stress response. And focusing on those words, that language, and that we have control over is going to help us enhance our health. I think we need to start focusing on that.
And, I was just in Los Angeles with a lot of my clients. And it was so much fun because every one of you, you're not going to even think about using negative words around me. God bless you. You're not going to risk, the wrath of Khan to do that. And it was just thrilling because I was in the presence of people who were just really peaceful, really happy. And if there was something in their life that was stressing them, and of course, I'm their coach, so I know, either their business coach or their life coach or both, so I know, then they're in the process of turning it around. Now, everybody has stress. So aside from shifting the way we think about it or the way we talk about it, tell us some more. What else can they do?
Yeah, everybody has stress. And, even Hans Selye said, those people that don't have stress are dead. There's no way to avoid it. You cannot be living on this planet, in this lifetime, in this world, without stress. And stress isn't always bad. And we all have a different stress hardiness. So I do things like skydiving and scuba diving and zip lining, things that most people would find stressful, I actually find relaxing. So we have to look at our own stress hardiness. and how we're handling these things. And really, to me, stress isn't the problem. And stress is not the problem because we can't control that stress. We can't control the traffic. We can't control that our flight is delayed. We can't control the person in line in front of us at the bank that must have the most complicated transaction in the history of the world, and we just want to pay our mortgage. We can't control any of that, but what we can control is our reaction to it, those thoughts we have about it. And that's where, going back to the first question, where our language is so important. I can sit in the airport and be frustrated and irritated that my flight's delayed, or I can use that time to turn that into something positive. Looking back to our past and dwelling on negative things and looking forward to the future with fear just makes the present horrible. There is no stress in the present moment. It's behind us or it's in front of us. And Carolyn Mace talks about, our biography becoming our biology, and how us living those thoughts over and over again is going to affect our bodies. And so looking at your stress response as opposed to trying to change things that are unchangeable is going to give you a leg up, and I know we're going to talk about a lot of those techniques today.
Well, yeah, and when you talk about fear, if a client is talking to me about how scared she or he is about something and that they were worried about it all day yesterday,
right,
I'll say, really? Well, you're very brave, aren't you? And then they'll be very, very quiet. What do you mean? What do you mean I'm very brave? Well, we know that if we focus on what we don't want, that we're perpetuating it. We know that if we get triggered and we stay triggered for more than 5 minutes, things are going to go from bad to worse. So you must be very, very brave, because for me, I'm much too frightened to behave that way. If there's something I'm scared about, I am going to really be so careful and so vigilant that I'm going to force myself to think about what I want. And then they go, oh. Okay, so thinking about what we want takes us to the next question. So what you envision is you creating your future. That's what Olympic coaches do with all their athletes. They practice and they practice and they train, but then they also have them sit with their eyes closed, envisioning themselves. And I don't know the specifics. I hope they also envision themselves getting the gold medal. Standing up on that podium, not just doing the dive or doing the, the slalom or something.
Right.
So would you lead us through a brief kind of visualization, talk about it first, so that we can really get ourselves into that mode now?
Yeah, absolutely. And we all talk about, boosting our immune system and making sure we're staying healthy. I see so many people who go into a place of fear around germs, and we're over sanitizing ourselves. And I understand we want to be clean, but you don't want to become paranoid and crazy about it. So the visualization that I do when I feel something coming on is not only changing my words about it, but also doing a visualization. So what I like to do, and I learned this when I was 15, I was very privileged to be around people who taught me some really amazing stuff at a young age, was to visualize the immune system. And I thought, what the heck does that mean? I'm 15 years old. How do you visualize your immune system? And the gentleman explained there's a place behind the heart, and I know that now to be the thymus gland, where we're creating a lot of our immune system, and that you can activate your immune system by visualizing it going to various parts in your body. So I would visualize, on his instruction, white light behind my heart. And let's say you're having a sore throat, and that is maybe your trigger for, I know I'm getting sick, I've got that tickle, the telltale thing. So you want to visualize those white blood cells, that immune system, going up into your throat and conquering whatever that sore throat is. So whatever that looks like to you. And what I love about visualization is you can totally customize it. So I visualized just the white blood cells as a cooling white light heading up into my throat and devouring whatever was causing that sore throat, whether it was a virus or a germ or however I pictured it. And he gave me the suggestion of that cavalry rushing over the hill to save the day, to have all the horses, they arrive at the top of the hill and then they rush down in and they do battle. That was the visualization that he taught me. So at 15, as I was getting ready to do Oklahoma, my first big production, that's what he taught me to do. And so I went home that night and I visualized my immune system, and I woke up the next morning and I didn't get sick. And I've been visualizing since. And you can customize that, whether it's angels swooping in or ants carrying something away. I had a woman tell me she would visualize Pac-Man going through her body, and actually eating away whatever the problem was.
I've used that one, but I really love what you're saying. This is very new. I never had heard ever before, and you guys know, I've heard almost everything, right? So the fact that the immune center is behind the heart, and the fact that you can actually program it as we program any other physical or mental or psychological response we have, that's really valuable. Is this in one of your books by any way?
Yeah, that is in the Conquer Your Stress book, which is the one on the screen right, our left.
Great.
And when I was doing my dissertation, and a lot of the studies I found are in that book as well, I found so many amazing studies about boosting your immune system, speeding wound healing. So they did studies where they would see people that had surgical incisions, and they would visualize them not only seeing the pain as sensations of healing, so turning that to the positive thing rather than the negative, and visualizing the wounds healing. And I had a sports injury, we'll say, and I visualized my foot healing. And so I was able to do a dance show, which I was told I would not be able to do, in 10 days. I visualized that, and we all have the ability to do that. Enhancing sports performance. There's been so many incredible studies about dart throwing and high jump and positive talk. I'm getting a bullseye, I get a bullseye, I get a bullseye, as opposed to I'm not worthy. I can't do this. I'm not good enough. We talk to ourselves this way, and if somebody else did that to us, I'm hoping we turn around and tell them to shut up. We have these phrases that we say all the time, and it's horrible. We're so mentally abusive to ourselves. Except your clients. Except your clients.
Okay, not the people who
and
are
my
around
clients
me.
too.
That's
They
right.
know better.
We don't tolerate any of that.
No.
It isn't worth it. In fact, I had a client many years ago who tragically was a victim of domestic violence, and you guys know that's one of my specialties. And she used the Pac-Man technique. She was having some plastic surgery in LA, and they were amazed at how quickly it healed. It was like within days instead of weeks. The doctor couldn't understand. And she told me that she was using this visualization of Pac-Man, and then she was combining it with scrubbing bubbles. The commercial with the little guy with the little brush. So she was seeing them going over her jawline, these imaginary scrubbing bubbles, and then Pac-Man was getting rid of the swelling. And she had a good time. She did it every single day, and
And it makes a difference. And, I visualize this little, very kind of Super Mario Brothers looking construction worker guy. And he walks around my body and he fixes things. Whether it was my toe when I was injured, and he assessed the situation and he carried away in his wheelbarrow all the gunk that didn't need to be there, and then he rebuilt it. I cracked a vertebrae when I was in college. Dance accident. I'm apparently accident prone for being a dancer. As long as there's music playing, I'm totally okay.
I think you're apparently very active, is what I'm hearing.
That's what it is.
People who aren't this active are not going to have these kind of injuries.
That's true. That's true. But no, I was warming up and I did a high kick and my leg went out from underneath me and I cracked my vertebrae. And they wanted to put me in a back brace. And I said, oh, no, that is not happening. And so I visualized this construction worker, and he showed up every night and he'd look at my vertebrae and he'd go, okay, and he'd take his little trowel and his caulking gun and his thing, whatever he needed to do. And 2 weeks later, I had no crack. Amazing. Everybody can do that. We all have the power to do that. We just have to find what image works for us and do it. We just have to do it.
Fantastic. This is just wonderful. I'm so thrilled to have you as a guest.
I'm happy to be here.
So interesting, so informative, so useful, so essential, such urgent information. Now, symptoms that are caused by stress. You could probably talk about this for 12 hours.
I could talk about it for 12 hours.
Just for anyone who isn't already on the same page, who thinks maybe that he or she has something called a disease, because I don't really know that exists anymore. It's a misnomer from where I sit. But give us some of the symptoms.
Insomnia, PMS, headaches, jaw tension, irritable bowel syndrome, behavioral ones like overeating, overdrinking, drugs, sleeping too much. So either you can't sleep or you just don't want to get out of bed. You're starting to lose joy in things. Road rage. We talked about the driving here versus back east. It's, people feel out of control of their lives, but they can control that you are not getting in front of me in that car. Things like cloudy thinking, memory issues, walking into the room and going, I know I was here, why? We just have too much going on. And that fight or flight response that we have during stress shuts down our digestion, shuts down our sexual response. We don't need to be doing complicated math or thinking when we're running from a bear. So that shuts down as well. So that's why it's so important to stop that stress response to get all those symptoms to undo themselves. And I did a radio show where the gentleman said, I'm not really stressed. I don't really think I have much stress. And we started talking, and I went through this list of symptoms of stress, and he was quiet for a second. And I thought, did I get cut off? Like, why is this guy not talking? And he started to laugh, and he goes, oh, crap. I'm stressed. I didn't even realize it until he said, I have every symptom you just said.
Every symptom?
Every symptom. He said, I can't stop
goodness.
chewing gum. I'm up at night not sleeping.
Wow.
I'm overeating. I think I drink too much. I mean, it was like confession for this guy.
Wow.
And he suddenly realized, without being aware of it, he was having stress. Yeah. And, sometimes we think we have a weird dis-ease or symptom or syndrome. In reality, it's a stress response, and that's a good place to start.
And I want to add one
Yeah.
that isn't on your list yet. Have you ever had a friend tell you a story that he or she thinks is entertaining about a problem that he or she has? And you're sitting there listening, and it is A, not entertaining, B, you feel stressed, and C, you've got a choice. You wish that she would never do this again, but now you remember she did in the past. That this is not the first time you've heard a story. And if she is or he is really entertaining, you'd be laughing. You wouldn't have that look of a deer in the headlights, right? And then what happened, right? So to me, it's sometimes not only are these symptoms experiences that are happening in your body, but you don't even realize that you have these behaviors that keep bringing it back, right?
Right. Or you see you're having the behavior, but you're not equating it to a stress response. You think you're just not sleeping, and you wonder why you can't remember anything. And you go to your doctor, and they say, oh, you're just getting older. If I hear that as the reason for everything, oh, you're not young anymore. Okay, I had a client who was 105. She was the sharpest person I knew. She was active, she was funny, she was fun, she was alive.
Fantastic.
96, she was alive.
Right.
At 45, we shouldn't be falling apart.
No, better not.
And they're in my office, and we call it job security.
Yeah.
But I would rather have people getting well and not needing, doing the self-care aspect.
Of course.
And that's what's so great about the mind-body stuff, is it's so much self-care. You don't have to have someone doing it to you. There's certainly things you get massage and stuff like that.
You should have been with me this weekend. I visited a friend who was diagnosed with dementia. And she's in great shape. I mean, she's in fantastic shape, and she runs around her neighborhood taking these long walks and dancing and whatever. She's very, very active, and her brain is working fine. I mean, I don't know what caused the diagnosis, but her brain's working fine. So her husband said to me, how are you? And I said, I'm great. The only difference between your wife and me is that I put all my attention on making sure I work from the neck up, and she's handling everything from the neck down. Because it's really true.
Right.
She's so busy with exercise that she forgot to exercise the part of her body that's actually the most essential.
Right.
And we'll get to that in a few minutes. Okay. So now, one of the really key parts of self-care is being able to understand any symptom that anyone has and doing whatever they believe is appropriate to transform that symptom. And one of the things for many people is healthcare providers.
Yeah.
And you asked the question, and I thought this is just fabulous, because I've seen people again and again and again make the mistake in not knowing how to communicate with their healthcare provider. So please talk about that.
Yeah, the first thing to communicate to me or you or your doctor or your acupuncturist, you have to know yourself. Please take the time to get to know you. And I have clients walk into my office and I'll say, how are you feeling today? And they give the socially acceptable response of, okay. I don't want to hear that you're okay, because if you're okay, why are you in my office? I'll lay down and get the massage. I want to know, seriously, like how, and I started asking, I have to dig for that now. Or we'll get through the entire massage and the person will go, oh, hey, you know what? My shoulder's been bothering me. And I'm like, okay, it's been 55 minutes. I can't do anything about that now. Or they'll say, my neck hurts. neck. There's just an unawareness of the body, and I know that I'm slightly skewed on that because I know the body so well.
Sure.
I mean, I know my body so well. I can tell you when I ovulate and from which
Of course you can.
Right.
Of course you can. Now, if you're younger than I am, and you're Kathy's age, every woman can. That's so interesting that you mentioned. Every single one of you can. You can know when you're pregnant within days. Some people within hours. It's about paying attention.
Yeah.
Please. That's so great you said that.
We're in a society where we don't have to have silence anymore. We don't have to be alone. So when we are standing in line at the bank waiting for the transition that's taking forever, rather than having to just stand there and be with ourselves, we can do this. And we're texting, and we're on Facebook, and I'm guilty of that as well. I'm tweeting about how frustrated I am that I'm standing in line at the bank. Rather than having that moment of silence, to go inside ourselves and say, how am I feeling right now? What am I feeling right now? I tend to focus so much more on the body than emotions, and it's so funny because my husband focuses on emotions. So he'll ask me, how are you feeling? But what he really wants to know is, what are you feeling?
Yes.
And I really have to think about that and see what I'm feeling. Taking time every day to examine what's happening with your body. Because if you don't know what it's like when it feels good, how are you going to explain what it's like when it doesn't feel good? And you can call your mechanic and say, my car, when it rains, going uphill, turning left, slightly 12 degrees, goes click, 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 click. That you know, but you can't tell your doctor what you're feeling. So that's the first step, is know yourself. And the second one is, you have to tell them.
Yes.
They are not going to be your health detective. You have to be clear in your communication, write down a list of things you want to say, don't save the best for last. They don't have a lot of time. Make it very clinical. Sit down. These are my issues. Boom, 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 boom. Ask questions. Why are you giving me that prescription? Will that interact with other things? What if it doesn't work? How do I know it's not working? How long should it take? What are the side effects? When should I call you?
Yes.
Be aware of what you're taking. I have clients on 6 meds. They cannot tell me one of them. I'd rather not have them on 6 meds,
No.
but at least tell me.
At least have the knowledge about what decisions you've made with your own body.
Exactly. If for no other reason, if there's an emergency and an ambulance shows up and says, what are you taking? You need to tell them. I want to know because of side effects and muscle aches. And I have a client who just got on antidepressants, which she does not want to be on. She's going to taper them off with her doctor's help, of course. She's not sleeping. She's got stomach aches. Her migraines are back. And I said, might be the antidepressants. We looked it up. Sure enough, there's people all over the country that are having migraines from Lexapro. So, so it's like you have to know, and you have to be your own health detective. And then you need to talk about it. So it's a multi-stage thing. But
And you do know about the at-home saliva and urine test for neurotransmitters and adrenal function, right?
Yes.
So that then they can get supplements that give them almost as much help, or in some case, a lot more help than the medications that have so many side effects.
she's not depressed.
Oh dear.
I mean, that's the other issue, And
Oh, well, that's a good example. So how does someone who goes to someone who's a doctor, an MD, end up with an inaccurate diagnosis, which we know happens all the time? And you guys know that my father was a surgeon, very prominent and all that. And how did I get into alternative healing? Because I saw how far medicine goes, and I saw how far it doesn't go. And the reason that I'm always talking about that saliva and urine test to anybody who listens, and have had 1,000 of my clients take it or more, is because until you actually see what's going on biochemically, there's little reason to be put on something to change your emotional state.
Right.
And most MDs don't have this understanding yet. So this is just another great example to communicate with a healthcare provider in a way that's logical and rational and practical, or take a friend along if you don't know how to do it yourself.
And get a second opinion and ask questions. And I had a client whose daughter was 19 years old. She was having abdominal pain. And they, of course, are very freaked out. A girl that age having abdominal pain. They did CT scans, they did ultrasound, they did vaginal ultrasound, they did all this very invasive procedure on a 19-year-old girl. And I said, hey, is that on the same side where her back was hurting? And the mom said, yeah. And I said, it's her psoas, which is a muscle that runs from the back to the front. I said, I guarantee you it's the psoas. I brought her in, I did one session on her, we released that muscle, her abdominal pain went away.
Wow.
I've had 3 other
Wow.
clients have that exact same issue. So you want to ask questions and get different opinions from everybody.
Wow. Now, when we talk about being mindful, we talk about really focusing on health. Of course, in this case, I've never even heard of that muscle. So you have to send me an email with
Okay,
that muscle.
got
right? Everybody needs to know about that.
Yes.
You know, and particularly anyone who's, you know, really athletic as you are, which I'm proud to say I'm not, because I don't want to have a pulled psoas, whatever that is, right? No. So, you know, exercise appropriately for your lifestyle and your body type and all that. But being mindful, you know, really being mindful, which is really what Kathy's talking about today. How can you be present with yourself, be present with your environment, know what works for you, know what does not work for you, figure out strategies that are going to work better rather than just fall into things that work, you know, are least effective, okay? So to speak about mindfulness and health.
Mindfulness, you know, I had mentioned earlier I got to study with Thich Nhat Hanh last year at Harvard, and he glowed from within. When he stepped on the stage, I thought, how'd they light him? No, that was him.
Of course,
they didn't have to light him. It was just brilliant. Yeah. But one of the things he instilled in us is mindful doesn't have to be this sit on the pillow in a special place at a special time. It doesn't have to be formal. And he really instilled mindfulness.
And there's your book. On the
There's my book. Yes. Mindfulness as being...
Thank you, Jared.
Thank you, Jared. Mindfulness as being something that you can do every day and just incorporate into your life. So when you brush your teeth, you have to do that every day. Brush your teeth mindfully. If you're taking a shower, take a shower mindfully. You know, do the dishes mindfully. And I heard one of his quotes, he didn't say this when we were there, but I heard this afterwards. You can either do the dishes to have clean dishes, or you can do the dishes to do the dishes. Are you looking to an end result, or are you looking to stay in the present moment?
Okay.
And you can incorporate mindfulness into anything. And that's what I loved about it, because it doesn't have to be this, well, I don't have time to meditate, I don't have time, I'm not really into that sort of stuff. Everything when you're present in the moment, you're doing mindfully. We're sitting here having a mindful conversation. We're listening to each other, we're sharing ideas, we're engaging things to the people who are watching, and you know, as opposed to, oh, I'm sure it's probably my turn to talk in a second, I don't care what she's saying. Oh, my answer, you know. Presentness with the cat, with the garden, with whatever you're doing at that moment, with curiosity and intent is mindfulness. And that's what he instilled into us. And that keeps you in the present moment. Because, again, the stress isn't here. It's something from back there we're dwelling on, or something in the future that we're afraid of. Staying in this present moment keeps the stress from bothering us, because right at this second, where's the stress? It isn't here.
Yes.
It's someplace else.
Yes.
So he was just such an amazing man. He brought brothers and sisters and monks with him, and it was just a phenomenal 2 days. Phenomenal 2 days.
And did you know that the Dalai Lama has been offering free talks for the last couple of days from Mumbai?
I did.
On live stream.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so any of you who just love listening to the Dalai Lama, which I do, and he's been here, and I saw him here, and I saw him in New York. And so I was watching him a couple of nights ago. And you know, you just enter into that state. That is what humans can always do for each other. You can enter into the state that someone else is in. If they're in a more mindful state, or if you are in a more mindful state, they're going to fall into that, which is really, you know, delicious. Okay, so you said something I really loved, which is picking the exercise that's right for you. Because I see, you know, I end up seeing and working with people whose adrenals are shot. You know, and sending them to this referral or that referral, because somebody told them a long time ago that they needed to exercise and be thin and fit, without including the fact that they actually needed to have a healthy functioning adrenal system.
Right.
So they didn't understand picking the exercise that was right for them. So tell us more about that, please.
Because I'm a natural health practitioner, everybody assumes certain things about me. They assume I do yoga. I don't like yoga. They assume I'm a vegetarian. No, I'm a meat eater. They assume that the music I play in my office all day is what I listen to 24 hours a day. No. For exercise and stress relief, I do hip hop and flying trapeze. So I'm in a dance class 4 or 5 days a week with an amazing choreographer here in town, and I get funky. And I love it because it's not only the most phenomenal physical exercise, it's amazing mental exercise because it's a different routine every night.
Yeah,
so when he says 5, 6, 7, 8, you got to be there and present. And the flying trapeze, I started a little over a year ago. I had, when I talked about the sports injury that put me in the emergency room, that's what it was. And that was my very first, the shot you're showing right now, that was my very first class. That is me about to do my catch. Fabulous, fabulous. There's my first catch. And it's the most physically challenging thing I've ever asked my body to do. And again, it's a mindfulness practice because the day...
It better be.
It is, because you have to be present in that moment, listening to the calls.
Yes.
And when new people are there studying this and doing their first class, they say the most important thing that you should have brought today were your ears. Because when they say, knees up now, let your hands go, cat, you have to be there. And the day I got injured, I was someplace else. Yeah. I was thinking ahead to, I got to get this trick right, I want to do the catch. And I came off the bar too early and ended up in the emergency room. Ugh. When I healed that injury with visualization. Mm-hmm. So I recommend not getting injured. But you have to customize that. I have clients who are runners. My husband used to be a runner. Now he goes on walks. He wants to swim. Maybe it's spinning. Maybe it's, gardening is exercise. Maybe it's Pilates. There's so many choices. And a friend said to me recently, you should do yoga. It's good for your back.
Oh, well, if you hear somebody telling you what you should do, you're already,
but also, compared to me, she's not in a great state of health. So for someone to tell me I should be doing yoga, and I'm like, okay. And I said, well, actually, I've done yoga. It really hurts my back. And she said this to me, well, you're not doing it right. I'm thinking, you're telling me I'm not doing it right? Oh my God. It's just, everybody thinks that what they do works. And I'm sure I've been guilty of that too. When I was learning about homeopathics, everybody had to be on homeopathics. When I was learning about Bach flower, we have to customize and find what works for us.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And I want to dance 4 days a week, and I want to go do flying trapeze. And maybe it's something else next year. But it's whatever makes you happy. Because if you're exercising without the joy, it's not going to work. Well, it doesn't have the results.
Right, half of the point of exercise is the endorphins.
Yeah.
I mean, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I have a little trampoline, which I love. And please remember, cleaning things is exercise. So I'm always amused by people who have, as I used to have, a huge staff doing cleaning services for me so that I could then run to the gym, or in my case, have a personal trainer come to my house.
Right.
And there's something wrong with this picture. I mean, it's like, this is very, very strange. So all the cleaning that you may do is keeping you healthier. And I heard that women who do their own cleaning have been found to be healthier and live longer, which really was a stunning piece of information for me.
Right.
Now, it didn't say that they had to actually make a living doing it. So it wasn't saying that they were, that they were cleaners, as a cleaning service or housekeepers, whatever, which obviously then somebody has to stay healthy because they need to earn a living. But it means that you're using your body in different ways. So this is very exciting. I'm really liking this.
Now, I do caution people, though, don't vacuum once a week and think that's all you have to do.
No.
That's in addition to, getting your heart rate up and doing all of this stuff. But yeah,
sure.
I was using an app for a while called Lose It, and I was charting things. And with under exercise, it had house cleaning and gardening and sexual activity. And, I'm taking every calorie I can get, but you don't want to rely on gardening once a week. We want to make sure we're as active as we can be within our physical limitations. Not everyone's going to come trapeze with me.
But that should be something to see.
It's only 35 feet up. I mean, it's on my YouTube channel.
I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch it. So I have a quote from you. Okay. And it's about people who perpetuate their illnesses without realizing it. You said, many wear their illness like a badge of honor and would rather get the secondary gain it provides than making changes and be well. So if you would tell us about one of your clients, one of your many, who used to be like that, and you were able to interact with him or her in such a way that they shifted.
Yeah. I had a client who lost a child, older age. The child was born with some sort of physical disability, a learning disability, was always dependent, could never eat on his own and that sort of thing. And at age 18, the child died. So every year from March to May, when the child was born, when the child died 18 years later, this woman would basically celebrate all that. She'd put it on the calendar, she'd go through depression. I mean, she practically said, I'm going to be depressed now for these next 2 months. And she was having neck issues. And she would say things like, oh, my stupid neck, my dumb neck. She loved when her neck hurt because then her husband would clean for her. So he was getting the exercise, not her. And I encouraged her to examine her words, first of all, and looking at things like, every time you say my dumb neck, my stupid neck, you're perpetuating that pain. I said, while you're doing your activity, she used to like to go on long walks, I'd say, why don't you think, my neck is strong, my neck is stable, my neck is resilient, getting those affirmation kind of things put in there. And also, if you don't want to clean, maybe you could actually have the conversation with your spouse of, hey, it would be really helpful if you help me out, rather than waiting until I'm in pain. Because I don't think oftentimes we even realize we're doing that. Maybe when we were sick, we got special treatment from our parents. Maybe that was the only time we got hugs and kisses, is when we weren't feeling well. Maybe you got out of doing things.
Don't have a father who's a doctor. Don't even think about having a father who's a doctor who's not demonstrative. That could be, almost was a lethal combo, let me tell you.
Right. But we wear these things like a badge of honor, and it's become this, hi, my name is such and such, and
the name of the disease.
Exactly. And again, Carolyn Mace talks about this as being woundology, and we lead with our wounds. And it's one thing in the course of a therapeutic conversation to say, I lost my mom when I was 18, and this is what I learned from that, and But when that becomes your identity, and to me, is it an identity or an anecdote? And I've met so many people who launch in immediately to, well, my stupid husband and well, why don't you leave the guy? Oh, it's been 18 years. Okay, but then you haven't divorced him. He's right there. You're carrying that with him. And once you get rid of that illness, that pain, who are you?
Incidentally, in that moment, I am not kidding, that I actually heard that woman, whoever she is, I heard that woman's voice, because you know what I do, so you know that as America's leading divorce coach and marriage coach and all this, and divorce mediator, hear this, right? At the moment that Kathy said it, I actually felt a twinge in my neck. So please, what I'm saying is, it's not only when you say it yourself, it's when you're in the presence of someone else who's unconscious and who isn't mindful. Okay, please tell us.
Yeah, and I meet, I go to naturopath conferences all the time, and it seems like so often it's the health practitioners that are actually perpetuating this stuff. And there's some reward to staying overweight. Maybe you're not getting hit on. Maybe it becomes a defense mechanism after childhood sexual abuse or some sort of inappropriate contact.
Absolutely.
Or, and again, I'm not saying people are consciously going, I'm going to hang on to this 20 pounds because it protects me.
I am.
It's a
No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
I see that it's wonderful not to be hit on at 65 years of age, because my whole life was about being hit on, and it's a wonderful thing, and I'm perfectly healthy with a little bit more weight. So if you're older, like me, and you weigh more, like me, at least fess up. It's a wonderful thing. It's very, very freeing.
Yeah, but not everybody has the awareness to know that.
Well, yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Right, yeah.
Today, your show is about giving them the awareness.
To know that you're hanging on to whatever that is because there's gain from it. And that's something that really has to be addressed. And that comes with that sitting with yourself and saying, am I getting something from having migraines every month? Am I getting out of going to the office party because my back hurts so bad I can't do it at the end of the day? And again, not saying you're doing it on purpose.
No.
But is that a part of why you're not healing the way you'd like to? Yes. And we just have to ask ourselves that question.
Yeah. And you have to answer the question, too.
Honestly.
Yeah. Perfect. Now, there are so many benefits from massage, massage is what used to be yoga. Yoga became the trend for the last 20 or so years, and before that, massage was the trend. Now, it's common denominator, everybody gets massage.
Yeah.
But there are many benefits that people don't even realize. So tell us about that, if you would.
There's still this perception that massage is just this relaxing treat. I don't do that kind of massage. I do deep tissue trigger point. People come to me because they've got a problem. It's not a treat. It's not pampering. It's not relaxing in that sort of lay there slimy,
so
sleepy way.
So be warned.
Yeah, I don't mess around. Seriously. All my clients are going, massage is a great first line of defense against pain. Whether it's neck pain or back pain or hip pain, foot pain, I think people, they very often go to their chiropractor, which is awesome. I would not be sitting here as upright as I am if I did not have my team of chiropractors. Look at the soft tissue as well. And so often people run to their physician, and again, I'm not anti-Western medicine, I want to see a combination, but they run to their physician and they're given muscle relaxers, pain meds, a cortisone shot, surgery. Once you start cutting things, the body doesn't know what to do with that. Unless it's life-threatening, please go see a qualified massage practitioner, not a discount place where you don't know where they've been trained. It's a little, or they're not treated properly. And there are places where the staff is being so horribly unethically treated that I tell people, please don't go there, if for no other reason that other human beings are not joyfully doing their job.
And think about why you don't want to have somebody touching you in any way at all who's not a peaceful, happy, present person. I turn down the offer massages all the time. So be really mindful again about that.
Yeah, and there's also still a misconception a little bit that massage is sex. That's still happening. If you see places that are open from, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. or midnight or credit cards only or discreet or all new girls, not the kind of massage you want to get because they're there, and you really
They're
want
everywhere.
to be They are everywhere. And again, those people aren't trained in massage, so you want to be careful of who's putting their hands on you. You can be injured. I've done expert witness work where people have been injured from not well-trained massage therapists. So if you're having pain, if you're having headaches, I've had clients who have migraines who, with some work with me, get rid of the migraines, jaw tension, neck pain, the psoas thing, which I'll email you about. There's so many things that massage can help with, and stress reduction. Use that hour or hour and a half as a meditation. I have clients bring their own music, or who want me to guide them through a visualization of what I'm doing as they're on my table. You can make that time whatever you want it to be. And some people want to hear the joke of the week. Some people want to talk and tell me about their day and vent. And, it's healing of body, mind, and spirit. It's not just a pampering thing you do when you're on vacation in the Bahamas. So take that as a therapy, because that's what's massage therapy. And I want people to understand that it's so much more than feeling slimy and sleepy.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to have you do a brief guided meditation for enhanced healing. And I'm going to have my eyes closed too. So I'm really looking forward to this.
Great. So this is a mini meditation. So I'm not a big sit on a pillow and be quiet, still my brain kind of person, as you can imagine. So it's not my thing. Flying trapeze, not my thing. Okay, so this is just a mini meditation. And I learned this also at Harvard. So I'm going to have you close your eyes. If you're watching at home, go ahead and let your eyes gently close. Get into whatever comfortable position works for you. And I'm just going to have you concentrate on your breath. So the rise and fall of your chest, you're not trying to change your breath, you're not trying to alter it in any way, you're just going to concentrate on it, and we're going to use that as your focal point. So go ahead and see what's happening with your breath. And on your next inhale, I want you to think, I am. And on all of your inhales, I want you to think, I am. And on your next exhale, think, at peace. And on all subsequent exhales, think, at peace. So concentrating on your breath, inhale, I am, exhale, at peace. And if other thoughts float through, dismiss them without judgment. Return to the breath, I am at peace. The other thoughts float away like clouds on a summer day. They're not wrong, you're not a failure. Just return to your breath. I am at peace. And this is the perfect way to stop that stress response. It decreases your blood pressure, it slows your heart rate and your respiratory rate, readies your brain for higher functioning, it slows the genetic effects of aging, and it puts you back into the present moment. I am at peace.
Beautiful.
I do that all the time.
Beautiful. And I have to tell you, I feel more relaxed. I mean, I really do. And it's so interesting. The more you do this, I've not obviously to you perhaps, but I've been meditating for like decades and decades. And, it's called a practice. You practice meditation. You sit for meditation, you practice meditation, you don't say that you meditate. Why? Because it's complicated, and for most people, and me included, it took such a long time before I went anywhere. And I've studied with so many enlightened masters, in India. So it's a complicated thing. Now, though, I get the benefits. Now the fruit just drops into my hand. Now I close my eyes, you lead me into that, and I feel refreshed.
Right.
Really. And when I opened my eyes, your hair was auburn.
Oh.
So I had a visual experience. I don't remember that Kathy had auburn hair, but it really looks quite beautiful. And then it went back to being brown. It's interesting. So I had something happen wonderfully with my eye nerve. It was great.
Yeah.
Vision.
That's
Wonderful.
good. Well, and I'm not a meditator. Tell me to sit still and not move my body and to quiet my mind. It's not my strong suit. So when I learned that meditation and they said, today we're going to meditate, I thought, oh, I'm in trouble. But I didn't want to come out of that. It was something so simple. So if I, the type A, anal retentive Capricorn, only child can do it, you can do it. And it is so useful. And it has led me to being able to actually sit on the pillow and turn to a million bubbles and float away. It's the gateway drug for me. So it's so easy to do. And you can do it anywhere. Just don't close your eyes if you're driving.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now, so many of us owe our lives to supplements. I certainly do. So what is your favorite supplement and why? Whether you're talking about for more clients than others or for yourself, what's...
This is my favorite supplement for everybody because doesn't everyone have a favorite mineral, right? Mine is magnesium. I love magnesium, and we stress calcium so much, especially among women. I like magnesium because it's good for mood, sleep, constipation, bowel health in general, heart health, PMS, muscle cramps, menstrual cramps, headaches, anybody I missed. It covers so many different things. And we are all, from what I can tell and what I read, vastly deficient. It's a very large molecule. So, when you buy magnesium, it's this gigantic, everyone calls it the horse pill.
Right.
Because it's so large. So if you're taking a multivitamin with minerals in it, you're probably not getting enough magnesium. I keep that on hand and supplement with it.
So how about the calcium-magnesium combo? Which is what I take, which a lot of people take.
I like
and
it.
I take it before I go to sleep because it
Helps
has that.
with the leg cramps and the sleep. And, I just take magnesium straight. I eat a lot of cheese and vegetables, and, so I'm probably getting enough of the calcium.
Gotcha.
And
Yes, you do.
Soda actually leaches calcium, and I'm very anti-soda. So for any women who are drinking the dark sodas,
Is anyone still drinking soda who watches this show?
Yeah.
With all the carbonation? Oh my goodness.
I see people drinking soda. I did a lecture this morning at one of the universities here in town, and I went to talk about eliminating soda, and I looked around the room and went, okay, I don't have to call anybody out. We're all safe. But no, it's there's no, I'm preaching to the choir. There's no benefit to it. But one of the other issues with soda is it leaches calcium.
The reason that the clients I have who used to drink soda were drinking soda was because they were using it for weight control. Clearly. There's not anybody that I've ever known who is drinking soda who isn't doing that for a reason of wanting to be healthier. So, impossible. So if you're having soda that's 0 calories or 1 calorie, whatever, and it's something to do with your mouth, which is, that's a good part of it, but now Kathy's talking about, the downside.
Yeah.
The risks to it.
Yeah. Well, and also the 0 calorie stuff is even worse because it's got the artificial sweetener in it.
Oh my goodness.
And I hear people so proudly, exclaim that. I'll take the Coke zero, the diet, and it's like, it's not a health food. No. Have tea or water. Something that doesn't have all that chemical in it that our body doesn't know what to do with. So, yeah. But magnesium.
Well, what I say about people who make the choices that I don't make is simply that they must be a lot healthier than I ever was because they don't have any problems with their health. For me, I had problems with my health when I was born. I was allergic to all these different things. And so I've spent my whole life getting healthy. And now I've been healthy for about 9-10 years, that's all. So I understand that if I had perfect health from the first minute, I wouldn't have this consciousness. It wouldn't bother me. It's just like I was so thin, I never had to think about food, so I ate whatever I wanted. Then, like everybody else, I hit menopause and, oh well, so that was different. But I have tremendous empathy for people who are young and have weight challenges, because it's really nice when you don't have to think about this stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
But my guess is that eventually you're going to have to think about this. So if you listen to Kathy today, maybe you'll make a small change or a moderate change, and then you'll be a lot healthier a lot longer. Now, you told me about something that I have never heard about. And that doesn't happen to me very often. So, biodots, indicators of stress.
Yes. I love my biodots. So these are biodots. They're not bindies. They do not go on your forehead.
Exactly.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you peel one of these little stickers off.
Okay.
And you're going to put it between the thumb and the forefinger of your non-dominant hand. So if you're right-handed, put it on the left. If you're left-handed, put it on the right.
So let me see exactly where I'm putting it.
So right there.
Okay, so right there.
So you're left-handed?
Yes, I am.
Okay, perfect.
I followed your instructions.
You did. I've said non-dominant hand, and people go, The one you don't write with, yes. So, and it's chilly in this room, so we're probably not going to see much result. But what will happen, if it stays black the way it is, you're either cold, or it's an indication of stress.
I am cold.
Yeah,
So
it is a little chilly in here.
if it turns red, I'm telling you in advance, because I'm having a lot of fun. Not as much fun as she has on a trapeze, maybe, but I'm having a lot of fun. Okay.
So what it does is it's a measure of temperature,
Oh.
but it's a measure of stress. So it'll move up.
like a mood ring.
Like a mood ring.
Oh my
a little
goodness.
more scientific. But yeah, so as it moves up into the tans and the yellow and the green and the blue, once you hit that beautiful azure blue, that means you're more relaxed. And we were given these at Harvard.
Could I see that for
yeah,
just a minute?
absolutely.
Because I have to tell you guys, if you're my age, then you remember mood rings.
Yeah.
This was the colors, more or less, that they changed. So what is this made out of?
It's a small encapsulated crystal. That's all I know. I don't know what kind of crystal. I don't know what that means. The company's been around for ages. I buy them in bulk because I'm constantly giving them away.
Fabulous.
And when we're not this cold, you'll see it start to change color. And what's fun is it's become this statement around my friends and I, because they've all been to my lectures, they know about the biodot. So I'll say, something on Facebook like, oh, my dot's black today. And they go, oh, Kathy's stressed out. Or, yay, my dot is blue. It's become a way of communication with us. And it's a phenomenal indicator, because you think you'd know when you're stressed, and sometimes you don't. And you look down and go, oh man, I didn't realize what that guy said to me actually put me into a stress response. It's a really interesting,
fantastic.
physical way of knowing that. It's a great experiment. So I use them all the time in my lectures, and some days I'll just slap one on to see what happens.
And only
throughout the
here.
course of
That's
day.
the only place you put it. Huh, interesting.
Kids like to put them all over their bodies.
Of course, but
yeah.
this is where your body, okay, this is,
When you're stressed, your hands and your ears get a little bit cold. And when you're relaxed, your hands and your ears get a little bit warmer.
fascinating.
Yeah. So that was something I learned about at Harvard, and I loved it. It's such a great illustration. So once we get out of this room and we're not
Couldn't you
chilly,
make them into removable earrings and have a whole new business on the side?
I'll think about
if your
that, yeah.
If your ear is changing colors, it's a whole new thing.
It could, yeah.
Because I just went to Florida and I brought one of my dearest friends back nail polish, toenail polish that changes colors. When it's in the sun, it becomes pink, and when it's not in the sun, it becomes purple. So it changes color all the time.
Wow.
Really fascinating.
Kind of
So that's why I thought about that. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you have a threefold perspective on health.
Yeah.
Please explain that to us.
This is where I do differ from Western medicine. They're very symptom-based, as we already talked about. So my perspective when I'm working with clients is the first thing we want to do is we want to get rid of things that might be causing problems. Maybe that's artificial sweetener, maybe it's soda, maybe it's milk, maybe it's wheat. We want to take away the things that are causing the problem. Then the second stage is let's add things in that we need that we might not be getting. Maybe it's magnesium, maybe it's the B vitamins, maybe it's more sleep. Then on top of that is the third step, which is maybe we have to bring something in that's chemical or a procedure. Maybe you do need to be on a pharmaceutical. Maybe you do need an herb, a homeopathic, acupuncture. But I think until we get rid of those things that are causing the problems, and I see this all the time with milk and children. I have parents that bring their kid in and say, my child's having ear infections, can you give him an herb? And I say, well, why don't we cut out the milk first? Oh, but he likes the milk. Okay, but it's causing the problem.
Of course.
So yeah, I can give them an herb, but until you get rid of the milk,
course.
rather than putting a Band-Aid on, stop hitting yourself with a hammer. So, I think we have to look at it from a different perspective and see what the root of the problem is, rather than just doing symptom management.
Yeah, for sure.
And that differs quite a bit from Western medicine. So
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
what I try to do in my life and with my clients is what's causing the problem.
So it's preventative, and then it's all the other things. If there's certain things that you just can't prevent, then you'll deal with it on a symptom by symptom basis.
Of course. We do want people to feel comfortable.
For sure, for sure.
I had a client ask today, my mother takes too much Advil because she's in pain. How do I get her to stop? And I said, okay, well, you have to find that balance of, you also don't want someone to be in pain. She's in her 80s, she's got bad knees.
Yes.
Is it that bad at that age to take Advil every day because she's having pain with no other solution to the issue? So it's like you have to weigh that too. You don't want someone to be in pain because that's not good for the body either.
And when I see a number of the percentage of people who would acknowledge that they're overweight, who have joint pains, and then in many cases, joint replacement surgery, I will feel that now there's another number I can throw at you guys all the time, because I know there's a number, and I know it's a very high number. And though I have a good friend who had a joint replacement and she's very thin, I realized in that moment how rare that is. How rare that is. Now we just have literally 2 minutes.
Okay.
So we really only have about a half a minute.
Okay.
GERD and acid reflux. A solution. Can you say it in about a sentence?
Yes. Sometimes it's not that we have too much acid, it's that we don't have enough acid. So try adding in apple cider vinegar. That can actually help the issue. Don't do that if you have an active ulcer. But talk to your doctor about the possibility that you might be too low in acid rather than too high in acid. It's an incredibly common problem that people don't think about.
That's amazing.
That was too quick.
Well, I think that I'm going to watch the show again because there are a lot of things that I obviously didn't get while I have my, eye on the clock and everything else in the next question. I'm definitely going to experience your meditation, the guided one, because that's fabulous. Yeah. I've been doing I Am meditations for feels like a million years, but I never did that one. And that's really fabulous. And again, thank you, each and every one of you, for watching. We so appreciate it. We so appreciate when you contact our guest and let him or her know that you really enjoyed what you were learning and get more information about what they do, their specialty. And you've been just a dream guest, as I knew you would be. As someone who's done 200 shows, that I could, I've not even been here and she would have done a great show. And please continue to read my column in Santa Barbara Family Life magazine and send me all your questions. And I still do the 1-hour free telephone session. So you can find out if there's something about the way you're thinking, listening, speaking, or acting that isn't supporting peace. Give me a call. Thank you, and I will see you in a month with another wonderful guest.